But without further ado, let's get into the first question. Obviously, the first question is about Patrick Kane potentially being interested in the Detroit Red Wings. We got this from Trent. Hello, Mike. There was a report recently that Patrick Kane has interest in joining the Red Wings. I think this would be a great move for them to contend in the Atlantic as long as it's a cheap deal. And it's a pretty interesting topic because obviously if you've been following me for a while, I'm not that big on the Yzer plan. I don't think he's a bad GM. I don't think Detroit has a bad future, but I'm not as hyped on it as others. And obviously Patrick Kane, I think he is very overrated at this point. But when looking at Patrick Kane, I think it is undeniable that although the JFresh charts, the Rampum charts, which I do think are very useful, I think we can all agree that they do underrate Patrick Kane a lot. They have him in like the bottom 5% of players, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. He is still no doubt an elite offensive playmaker. The problem is, do I think it's a good fit for the Detroit Red Wings? I think Patrick Kane is a great scoop under $2.5 million for an actual contender, a team that's actually needs scoring depth, that can bring him in for a year, then just let him go. Basically just do a 1-year rent, your trade deadline rental to start the season with the Patrick Kane. I don't love it for Detroit, though. I don't think that this is that good of a move. First off, why they would do this. Let's look into why they would do this. Let's look into the positives. Let's try to be a little bit positive here. Obviously, the main reason why, what makes the most sense with Patrick Kane is they just traded for Alex DeBrincat. When you look at Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat's without a doubt a better player with Patrick Kane. DeBrincat has 29 goals, 39 assists in 87 games with a minus 35 in the 87 games that he's played without Patrick Kane. That is a 29 goal pace, 39 assists, 68-point pace on the season. Solid player, but nothing special. But when you look at him with Kane, 130 goals, 123 assists, plus minus of only 16. And mind you, those Blackhawk teams weren't very good. In 281 games in the 4 or 5 years that he played for him, that pace is 38 goals, 36 assists for 74 points over 82 games. So obviously, the main thing with this, you would definitely partner Patrick Kane with Alex DeBrincat. You're not bringing in Patrick Kane to play in your middle six with like JT Compher. You're going to put him with Alex DeBrincat, help out Alex DeBrincat. And I think that combo would work. But again, going back to, do I think Detroit bringing in Patrick Kane makes them a playoff team? No. And when you look at Patrick Kane, he would just be taking away minutes from some of your young guys. I think the DeBrincat-Kane combo would work, but at this point, Alex DeBrincat, if you go out and trade for him, I know they got him for pretty cheap, but you go out and trade for him, you give him almost an $8 million deal. He shouldn't need Patrick Kane to produce at a high level. They have Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin's their franchise center. Dylan Larkin should be able to turn Alex DeBrincat into a 40-goal player, or else Alex DeBrincat isn't even going to be worth the $7.875, I think, million that he signed for. So I don't like the logic of bringing in Kane to unlock DeBrincat because, first off, Kane isn't the same player as 2 years ago when him and Alex DeBrincat were absolutely cooking. That's one thing. And two, yeah, Kane keeps on aging. So, yeah, maybe one season DeBrincat goes off with Kane, but you can't keep on doing that. Kane's going to be 35 this season. It's not a long-term play. It's a 1-year fix. It's a 1-year, maybe we can be a little bit competitive in the Atlantic if we get a Patrick Kane, because I think, without a doubt, moving out one of their third or fourth liners for Patrick Kane, that's obviously going to improve your team by 3 to 4 points, I'd say. But right now I have the Red Wings as like a mid to high 80-point team. I don't think bringing in Patrick Kane at this stage in his career makes them an actual threat. As that question said, actually contend in the East. Even with Patrick Kane, I'm taking Toronto, Florida, Tampa, Ottawa, Buffalo, still over Detroit. If Detroit made an actual high-level impact trade and got another star or like a number 2 defenseman for Seider, well, Wallman's pretty good, but like another stud defenseman, then I could be on board for Detroit maybe making that push, then going out and trading for a Patrick Kane. But it's pretty evident right now that they're not in an actual spot to contend in the East. And also, when looking at a Patrick Kane, my problem with this is I think they would obviously put Patrick Kane on that top line with Alex DeBrincat, Patrick Kane on the right, DeBrincat on the left like they did in Chicago. Look at that top left, that number 1 left winger. I think if Lucas Raymond should get the opportunity, if he's going to be your eventual franchise winger like like we thought a year ago when he put up 57 points. He only put up 45 this most recent year. You need to let him go wild on that top line. Play as many minutes as possible. Play on that top power play. And if Patrick Kane comes in, again, I don't think you're bringing in Patrick Kane just for him to not play with DeBrincat. Imagine Patrick Kane playing with David Perron and JT Comfort. No, if you're bringing in Patrick Kane, you're playing him with your best offensive players so they could absolutely pop. So when looking at Lucas Raymond, a guy that did have a pretty disappointing sophomore year, his offensive play driving absolutely tanked. His shooting was about the same. Defense, he's not very good defensively. But when looking at Lucas Raymond, and also Patrick Kane would probably bump out one of their other young guys, so I don't like that as a long-term play, just bringing in Kane for a year for you to maybe go put up 90, 92 points at best. Best case scenario is that they make the last wild card spot in the East and then lose to Toronto or the Hurricanes or the New Jersey Devils. I just don't like them thinking this short term for a team that's not yet contending. You look at in Ottawa, getting a Vladimir Tarasenko, most of their young players are at the level that they're now in their prime. That's not really the case with Detroit. Seider's not at prime Seider yet. Raymond's obviously not elite. Guys like Edvinsson, Casper, they're not there yet, so I don't like this win now move. Ottawa, you already have Kachuk, Stützle, Batherson, Norris, Chikrin, Sanderson, Shabbat. They're all ready to go, so bringing in a Tarasenko, bringing in a Claude Giroux, it makes sense. Their time is now. Detroit, I still think another 2 years, then maybe you go out and get those veterans, get those Michigan older guys that want to come play for you. So I don't really like the fit of Kane right now.